All right, hey everybody, it's Dan again, and this is my review for Friday the 13th, the remake from, you know, less than a decade or so ago, I believe. Now, this movie just was very disappointing. Um, just really awful. Uh, I mean, Jason at least looked good, but overall the movie was just bad because, I mean, having seen the original Friday the 13th, you know that the original killer is Jason's mother, Patricia Voorhees. And basically what they did was they took that and just sort of squished it into, a couple of minutes really quick in the opening credits. Um, and that was unfortunate because, watching a remake, it would be nice to have like a full remake of the original film, incorporating the fact that she was the killer, incorporating Jason, maybe at the very end, something like that. But no, of course not. They just decided, well, Jason is the, main character of the series, right? So let's just have him be the killer automatically in this one. And it all starts off when a bunch of kids are going out camping in the woods and they end up running across Jason's weed, I guess. And yeah, that just, so dumb. Because of course this one kid ends up, finding Jason's weed, or just like some weed out, growing wild in, Crystal Lake, and Jason happens to be around there and gets killed. Now, I doubt that Jason actually smoked it. I'm sure, it just happened to be there, but I'm just, for the sake of the film, referring to it as Jason's weed, because they had to, in the new millennium, throw weed into a movie because that's important, whatever. So yeah, there's marijuana now in the movie, and it's an important factor in at least two deaths during the film. Um, I will say it was kind of funny. There was a guy in the film that I was trying to place. I couldn't quite figure out who he was, and it turns out he was Little Kev from the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia TV show. The first episode that he was in was Sweet D is dating a retarded person. He was the retarded person, Lil Kev, the rapper. Um, so I thought that was kind of funny, seeing him in there in a different role. Of course, he gets killed by Jason fairly quickly, and Jason, grabs a hockey mask from the barn that he kills him in and puts it on, and there you go. There's Jason's iconic look. Um, there were, I guess, one or two clever-ish death scenes in the film. Um, One in which this girl is trying to take off and hide from Jason, and is swimming around underneath the lake, and ends up going underneath this little boardwalk thing that Jason happens to be standing on, and she's looking up underneath the boards, like, through the cracks, trying to see him, if see if he's walking away or anything, and just hiding there. And then all of a sudden, just machete comes down right into her skull, and she's just kind of sitting there for a minute, and he just like pulls it up, thunks her head on it, and pulls it out. That was kind of good. Um, but other than that, not much. I feel like they attempted way too hard to make it into like a stereotypical, like, mid 80s to very early 90s horror movie, where it was just, oh, boobs and drinking and teenagers and drug references and and like, and they're just like, these are the things that make a horror movie, right? Here, we'll just throw them in there. And no, that's really not what makes a horror movie, um, at all. I mean, I'll give it credit for being a modern horror movie and being rated R. That doesn't happen very often nowadays, so that's kind of nice. It was refreshing. A little more gore, things like that. But just, Typical tropes, very easy to predict. I mean, there's this threshing machine that you see early on in the film, so you just know that it's going to, be important later. They make a big point of pointing that out. But I feel like the majority of modern horror films really just kind of count on the oh, well, who's going to see this? Oh, a bunch of idiot teenagers. Okay, well, what do teenagers like? Oh, drugs and drinking and sex. Oh, okay, let's just put a bunch of drugs and drinking and sex in it. That'll work, right? Okay. And that's really all this film was. That was it. I mean, it wasn't good. And I would hope maybe a time will come along in the future where they will, try to revitalize this series again and do it the right way, have a little bit of I mean, the first film in the original series was all about you know the unexpected. I mean, it wasn't obvious, Jason plodding around and slaughtering people left and right. That wasn't the film. It was just very subtle. Someone walking up and, oh, hey, what are you doing here? Getting stabbed just unexpectedly. um, and it just kind of played on that unexpected nature, and it was great. This one, everything is expected. There's nothing that comes off like, oh, I didn't see that coming. No, you see it all coming. It's just really, like, predictable. Everything that happens in the film, just, oh, well, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. And just, it was really horrible. Now, the next film that we're going to be covering tomorrow, the final film in this series before I start doing something different, is the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. And this one with Jackie Earle Haley as the new Freddy Krueger was actually pretty good. And it did some unexpected things, but we will get into that tomorrow. That's it for this video. These two were short because I was trying to make them real quick here to try to get that previous one out hopefully before the end of the day. But we'll see what happens. All right, thanks guys. Take it easy. See you tomorrow.